Good morning, Polina. Good morning, Vishnu.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi. Welcome, everybody. I see the attendees starting to roll in. Glad you're here today. We're going to get started right off the bat with a poll. So we'd like to understand why you're here and what your interest is. We've had one of these presentations from HashiCorp early this year and really excited about the topic we have today. So let me get that going. Here we go. You can answer that as you see fit. We just want to know a little bit more about your experience with the couple of integrations that HashiCorp has published with ServiceNow in our store so far. So to get us started, now that we're at the top of the hour, my name is Aaron Bennett. I'm part of our corporate biz dev team here at ServiceNow, and I'm very pleased to welcome back Polina from HashiCorp and a new presenter, Vishnu, to join me today and deliver this content on this integration from HashiCorp. One of our sort of cornerstone patterns or integrations at ServiceNow is our Service Graph Connector, which populates the CMDB in a sort of a predictable and efficient way. And HashiCorp has delivered. So that's our topic today. Polina, if you could go next. I just want to quickly point out our safe harbor. So webinar may contain some forward-looking statements, and just take that into account as you sort of plan. We do recommend if you want to validate information going forward, there will be an opportunity to get a follow-up from HashiCorp towards the end of the webinar or thereabouts. So I encourage you to sign on for that if you'd like to get more information after the content today. Moving ahead. We have other events in our Live on ServiceNow community series. You're welcome to check those out. Just scan the QR code here or go to the main page on community where you can see what events we have coming up, and probably we'll see another event from HashiCorp in the future, I'm sure. Next one. Finally, just to sort of cover what we're going to do today, we've got chat and Q&A available. So if you have a question, we'll try to address that in time in the chat and the Q&A. Vishnu or Polina may decide to try to take that question live if it's in the flow of the content, or we'll save it for the end. But we will make sure to go back and address all questions at the end, whether or not we answered them in chat, so that those are here for the benefit of those viewing this recording after the fact. This recording is going to be posted on our ServiceNow community via our YouTube channel. So that content replays can happen there. We would love if you'd share that forward. And again, just to mention at the sort of the tail end of the event, we'll have a survey where you can get an opportunity for feedback. There will also be a post-event survey where you can, comment on the quality of the content, what you'd like to see in the future, that sort of thing. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Polina and Vishnu to introduce themselves and take us through their integration today. Thanks. Take it away, guys. Oh, and by the way, let's end the poll so that we can talk about the structure of the audience we have today. So we can see that 90% of the folks have not yet tried the Service Graph Connector or Service Catalog. So you're in for a treat, people. All right, go ahead, Polina.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Polina Jaschemska, and I'm a senior software engineer at HashiCorp. I specialize in cloud infrastructure and integrating Terraform with third-party platforms, such as ServiceNow. Thank you to our ServiceNow hosts for inviting us to the community webinar for the second time this year. It's a great opportunity, and we're very excited to share some new ideas with all of you. From the polling session, we can see that most of you have not yet tried our apps. For those of you who are new to our community, I encourage you to check out the apps that we've built. And if you don't know anything about them yet, that's totally fine, because in today's session, we'll have a demo that will show you exactly how one of the apps works and how you can use it. Now, let me pass it over to Vishnu to talk about how you can take your infrastructure management cycle to the next level by using both ServiceNow and Terraform. Over to you, Vishnu.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vishnu Ravindra, product manager at HashiCorp from the Terraform ecosystem team. I see many of you on the call. Great to see you all. Thanks for joining in. I'm excited to talk about some of the integrations what we have built, that is the Service Graph integration between the ServiceNow CMDB and Terraform Cloud. Before I start that, let me start by giving an overview of what is HashiCorp and the products we offer. HashiCorp is, as we all know, it's a well-known player in the cloud infrastructure automation space. We offer multiple tools that help organizations to provision, secure, connect, and run their infrastructure for their applications. At the core, as you can see in the slide, we have 8 key products, each designed to cater specific needs in the cloud infrastructure landscape. Terraform is one of our most popular offerings since it has become an industry standard for infrastructure as code. Users will be able to codify their infrastructure and to streamline and automating the provisioning process. The Terraform is very cloud agnostic. That means it works on a variety of cloud platforms. We have a Terraform registry, which has got more than 3,500 providers. So that has made it popular as well. I and Paulina belong to the Terraform ecosystem group, as she mentioned, and our team is responsible for building third-party integrations to Terraform Cloud and Terraform Enterprise, which includes ServiceNow as well. We have 2 integrations for ServiceNow, as we showed in the poll. First one is Service Catalog, and the second one is the Service Graph. The Service Graph integration enables end users to provision self-serve infrastructure via ServiceNow. Using Service Catalog, ServiceNow users can order service items, create workspaces, perform Terraform runs with the existing configurations that are hosted in the VCS repositories. We had done a recent webinar a few months back. If you have not checked out, I strongly encourage to check that out. Today, we'll be talking about the Service Graph Connector, which is the second integration what we have built. So what is Service Graph Connector? So this is a single source of truth that updates the ServiceNow CMDB, or the configuration management database, with the infrastructure state and the resources provisioned by Terraform. The ServiceNow CMDB, or it is called as configuration management database, is a central repository within the ServiceNow platform that provides a single source of truth for your infrastructure. And it also offers configurable dashboards for monitoring and reporting purposes. The Service Graph Connector allows you to securely import Terraform Cloud or Enterprise resources into your ServiceNow CMDB so you can maintain a clean, complete system of record of your resources and services. This is done using the state what we use it in Terraform. This enables platform teams to gain a comprehensive view of the resources they support. By connecting the Terraform to ServiceNow, you can manage and search for Terraform-allocated resources alongside the rest of your organization's other resources. Out of the box, we support various resource types, which includes some of the providers, major cloud providers, which we mentioned, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and vSphere. But also, we have the flexibility to create additional resource mappings that can be done to any of the providers. That's the beauty of the Service Graph with the Terraform provider, because it has got connected to more than 3,500 providers in the registry. Next, we will talk about the benefits of why it is useful. Paulina, can you go to the next one? As we saw, Service Graph Connector has many benefits, and some of the benefits what we have seen are the connector updates whenever there is a CMDB dashboards with resources deployed in Terraform Cloud. This provides enhanced visibility to understand what has been deployed through the catalog or through any of these Terraform resources. By connecting Terraform to the ServiceNow CMDB, platform teams now can manage and search Terraform provisioned resources in the CMDB, alongside the company's infrastructure as well. This is really key for the finance or for asset management to track their assets, not only the company's assets, but also the cloud estate of it. Every time there is a change in Terraform, it seamlessly and securely reflects in the ServiceNow CMDB, ensuring all your resources are consistently managed and tracked. This is one of the things which is useful for a lot of organizations who wants to be compliant for auditing and for security purposes, so that when there is a change in the configuration management, they want to consistently manage what is provisioned and what is stored in their truth. And also, when it comes to the extensibility, ServiceNow admins have the capability to customize mappings. As I said previously, we provide out-of-the-box supports for some of the major cloud providers, but it can be mapped to any of those providers. In the registry, if you can search for any providers, you pretty much get for most of the third-party integrations. Now, when we think about how can we import these resources to the service graph, there are 2 imports methods which we provide: push and pull model. One thing is user can configure the application to periodically pull all your resources in one batch with scheduled polling, or you can set up a webhooks in your Terraform workspaces, which will notify your ServiceNow instances about the deployments done over there. For example, this is useful when you're using with the cataloging. For example, if you're ordering new resources or new items, so Service Graph can pick up from the webhook and store it in the CMDB. So it integrates, it complements between these two integrations what we have. Those are the things which I just wanted to highlight about the Service Graph Connector.
All right, thank you, Vishnu, for that insightful overview of the product features. Now let's transition into the demo portion of our webinar. Over the next 20 minutes or so, I'll walk through the key capabilities of the app, and then please feel free to submit any questions that you might have during the demo, and we'll be sure to address them at the end. To give you the best understanding of what this app can do, we'll start the demo by focusing on the core functionality first. And once we've covered the basics, we'll move on to the setup and customizations options. So in this first step, I'm creating a new workspace in my Terraform Cloud. This is the Terraform Cloud UI for those of you who are not familiar. Each workspace represents a single environment. Workspaces isolate the Terraform state for each environment. This way you don't have conflicts with state files as you manage infrastructure for different environments in parallel. I'm going to deploy some infrastructure in this workspace, which will be based on the Terraform configuration stored in my GitHub repository. I've selected a specific repository from the list to serve as a base for my workspace. There will be a number of resources built by this Terraform configuration. We will review them in a moment. The goal is to import all those resources into CMDB, the configuration management database in ServiceNow. As an application developer, my job is to provide visibility for my team as to what infrastructure we manage, how many resources are operational, when and by whom they were provisioned, and other details like that. So the ServiceNow Service Graph Connector for Terraform will help us to achieve this. Once the workspace is created, I will also link it to my ServiceNow instance by creating a webhook. I'll explain the webhook in the later portion of the demo. And next, I initiated a Terraform run in my workspace. As a side note, creating workspaces and initiating runs in Terraform Cloud can also be done by API calls and by Terraform CLI. Shortly after the run kicks off, Terraform generates the execution plan, which describes the infrastructure changes that will take place to reach the desired state. The plan shows how many resources will be added, changed, or destroyed. In this deployment, the total of 37 AWS resources is going to be created. The most significant of them, which are going to be imported into the ServiceNow CMDB, are some networking and security resources. We have a VPC, security group, a load balancer. We have a bunch of compute type items, an EC2 instance, and a Lambda function. We have some container-related resources such as ECS cluster and a Kubernetes cluster, and of course, storage. We have a S3 bucket here in this deployment. We have RDS database and cluster, DynamoDB global table. You can see some other resources on the list, but that's like the core that I've mentioned. You may have noticed a few deployment errors in the Terraform run. I intentionally kept them in this speeded up recording to demonstrate that in the real world, mistakes happen, errors happen. Once they are addressed and Terraform is rerun, resources can be successfully imported into ServiceNow. We just need one successful deployment to initiate the import. So you can see Terraform apply has been finished successfully, and once the deployment is done in Terraform Cloud, we can head over to the ServiceNow instance and open the CMDB workspace by typing CMDB workspace in the search menu. You can look for a specific resource name, for example, virtual machine instance. It will be imported with different essential details like unique IDs, names, timestamps, who created it. Each resource also has tags. There is a tags tab in this dashboard. The application will import all of your cloud tags specified in your Terraform configuration as part of the resource definition. So it will come from your code. And on top of that, it will also apply Terraform organization and Terraform workspace tags to show where exactly in Terraform Cloud that resource was provisioned. The relationship view in CMDB will show you the exact hierarchy of resources, in this case, like which region the resource belongs to and the AWS account number. You can explore the hierarchy by switching to different views and playing around with graphs and dashboards, creating your own dashboards, customizing them, generating reports. CMDB is such a powerful tool, and you can do so much with it. These are some of the resources that we've deployed with Terraform a couple of minutes ago. Once they are imported into CMDB, you can visualize them in multiple different ways. CMDB acts as a central repository to manage your infrastructure, and it gives you a comprehensive insight into the resources you support and the dependencies between them. Different types of resources will have different data imported into CMDB. For example, for an EC2 instance, we'll have IP address, size, number of CPUs populated, while for other resources, like, for example, the Kubernetes cluster, IP address and port will be displayed, among other details. Now let's see what happens when the infrastructure is destroyed. Back to Terraform Cloud, I'm initiating a destroy run in that same workspace. Now Terraform will remove all 37 resources that we've previously built. When you run Terraform destroy, Terraform looks at the state to identify all the resources that need to be destroyed. As each resource is destroyed, Terraform removes it from the state file. This ensures the state accurately reflects the real infrastructure. The state file itself is not deleted after a destroy. This allows you to keep a history of the infrastructure that existed previously. When the Service Graph Connector for Terraform checks the state after a destroy, it will detect that some of the resources are missing, and it will assume that they've been destroyed. It will mark those resources as non-operational in the CMDB database. Just like during creation, we need the deployment to finish successfully before the import job can be triggered. And now we can check CMDB. The resources are still there. They won't be removed completely, but their operational status changes to non-operational. Here. Now that you've seen what the app can do, let's cover the requirements and go over the basic setup, how to achieve exactly what we just saw. So what do you need to do in order to install the app? The app is available in the ServiceNow store. Look for the Service Graph Connector for Terraform, published by HashiCorp. You can install it to your enterprise vendor instance for free. There is, however, a license requirement. For this app to run in your production instance successfully, you will need the ITOM discovery license. Many customers will already have it in their instances, especially if your company already uses CMDB products and other ITOM products. There is a good chance you already have it. If you're not sure, a good way to check if you have the ITOM discovery license would be to navigate to plugins and then type ITOM discovery in the search field. And the record should say installed. If it doesn't say installed, you'll need to activate it first before trying to use the Service Graph Connector for Terraform in production. Activating a license plugin for your production vendor instance can be done through the ServiceNow support portal. I believe it's support.servicenow.com. An active license is required only for production instances. There is no entitlement required if you are using the plugin for a non-prod instance. And the rest of the dependencies will be needed by the app, like discovery and service mapping patterns, integration hub plugins, and others will be installed automatically when you download the app. There is no need to worry about installing them separately. Once the installation is complete, refresh your browser and start typing Service Graph Connector for Terraform in the search menu. The app menu will appear under the Service Graph Connector category. If you have other Service Graph connectors in your instance, the Terraform one will just be another addition to the same family of apps. 4 submenu modules will pop up. We have Setup, that's the place to provide credentials and go over the basic setup for the app. Next, we have Data Sources. It's just one of the app's artifacts storing the import code. You won't need to do anything there. Then we have Import Schedule. It's a place to set the desired frequency for the import runs and contact support. As the name suggests, there is a link to contact the HashiCorp support team. Setting up credentials for this app is super easy. Since the app integrates with both Terraform Cloud and Terraform Enterprise, just keep your token ready. The app requires only one mandatory token. What kind of token? It could be either the team token or the organization token. Team API tokens allow access to the workspaces that the team has access to without being tied to any specific user. In your Terraform Cloud, you can set up a team by going into settings and then opening the teams section. You can generate a new token and make sure it has access to manage all workspaces. You will have a bunch of checkboxes. Just make sure you give the token the right permissions. And in contrast, the organization token simply allows access to all workspaces inside that org. To generate an org token, go to settings and then click API tokens and generate a token. Back to our ServiceNow instance, click on the setup submenu module and the guided setup form will open up. In the first section, paste your token, whichever token you decide to use, the Teams one or the org one. Don't change the name of it, just paste the credential into the encrypted field and hit save. Mark the section as complete. The second section is optional. Earlier, Vishnu talked about the two modes of import available through the Service Graph Connector for Terraform. The bulk import going through all of your resources and the webhook import, which is more event-driven, happening per workspace when a successful deployment is finished. This section here is meant for your webhook token. It's supposed to be a string, any kind of string, used for the HMAC authentication. HMAC authentication is the way Terraform Cloud authenticates webhook requests with ServiceNow in order to securely inform ServiceNow that some resources have been successfully deployed and pass the workspace information. The ServiceNow instance would pick that request and pull Terraform state details for the given workspace. Enter a webhook string here and keep a note of it because you will need it when you set up the actual webhook in Terraform Cloud. Mark the section as complete. And the last field in this section is to set up your Terraform connection URL. If you use Terraform Enterprise, you can paste your TFE URL into the connection URL field and hit update. If you want to use the MID mid server as a proxy for routing requests between your ServiceNow instance and Terraform Enterprise, you can do so by checking the mid server box. But if you use Terraform Cloud, you don't need to update anything in this form because it already points to Terraform Cloud by default, app.terraform.io. You can just go back and mark this section as complete. And finally, the last portion of the guided setup is for configuring the scheduled import job. Fill it out only if you plan to use the bulk import option. Unlike the webhook import discussed earlier, the scheduled import will pull all of your resources into CMDB at a scheduled time. You can set the frequency to, for example, every hour or once a day. Keep in mind that this scheduled job will loop through all of your Terraform organizations, and it will try to import completely all resources from all of your workspaces. It is not recommended for a large scale. If you have a lot of workspaces, like hundreds and thousands of workspaces, the webhook import will perform much better than the bulk one. That's why I'm going to skip the activation here and just exit the section and instead head over to all scheduled imports and pick Service Graph Terraform scheduled process state. This is a different scheduled job. This job, when activated, is responsible for periodically checking for new records in the webhook table. Anytime a new webhook request comes in from Terraform Cloud or Terraform Enterprise, a record gets written to the database. And as soon as this scheduled job picks it up, ServiceNow initiates a request to import Terraform resources from the state file. If you want to use webhooks, you need to activate this job. I'm going to set the frequency to every 10 seconds, activate it, and save this configuration. The history of all your imports using this method is summarized in this table below, so you can go and check the previous import sets. And that concludes the entire setup inside the ServiceNow instance. The only thing left to do is to configure the webhook in the Terraform workspace. So let me show you how to do it. Once you create a workspace with attached Terraform configuration, it could be a Terraform code stored in your version control repository like GitHub, like here in my case, or it could be a module published in your private Terraform Cloud registry. There are a couple of different ways you can set up workspaces in Terraform Cloud. If you want to learn more, check out HashiCorp's Terraform Cloud tutorials. Once the workspace is created and you're ready to run Terraform in it, open the workspace settings and proceed to notifications on the left panel. Create a new notification of the webhook type and fill out the following details. Enter the name. It can be anything. I prefer to put ServiceNow Service Graph into the title, just to remember that this particular notification goes to ServiceNow. Webhook URL is a fixed endpoint exposed securely in your ServiceNow instance through the Service Graph Connector for Terraform. Replace the instance ID in the domain name with the ID of your own instance. But the relative part of the URL will be the same for everyone, so don't change it. And next is the token used to generate the HMAC on the notification request. It's going to be the same string that we entered in the second step of the guided setup form back in ServiceNow. It will be used for encoding the request sent to your ServiceNow instance. And finally, we need to specify the trigger, when the webhook notification is actually supposed to be triggered. We don't want any workspace events, only specific run events. The notification is supposed to be sent only upon a successful completion of the Terraform run, when all resources are successfully provisioned. Uncheck everything except completed and click Create Notification. If your webhook notification is set up correctly, you should see the green indicator saying status code 200. It means that the connectivity between Terraform Cloud and ServiceNow is successfully established, and you can proceed and initiate a Terraform run. If you have any errors here, you will see helpful error messages. You can check the logs in this section. It typically takes a couple of minutes to apply Terraform and process the request to ServiceNow. And you can monitor all of your webhook import sets in the scheduled imports interface that I showed you previously. A successfully completed job has a green indicator and shows a number of successfully processed resources. It means that they are ready to be viewed in the CMDB dashboard. And that concludes the main portion of our demo. We are at almost about half an hour mark, so probably a good time for our last polling question. Aaron, if you could please put it on the screens.
Excellent demo, Polina. That was very thorough and complete. Hopefully we'll have some productive questions. I see one or two that have already been answered, so perhaps we could read through those while people are answering the follow-up question. So if we go to the Q&A, just to call it the first one. So Terraform ServiceNow Service Graph Connector supports only Terraform Enterprise, or does it support Terraform Cloud as well? So maybe best to just list out the products that you are supporting at this point in time.
Yes, the ServiceNow Service Graph Connector for Terraform successfully integrates with both Terraform Cloud and Terraform Enterprise.
Right. And that's the limit of products that you're supporting at this time.
Correct. We do not support the Terraform open source edition, only the platform itself.
Cool. So that takes care of the second question. So all attendees, please type any other questions you have in the chat or in the Q&A. We'll take them from either source. And Polina, Vishnu, would you like to tell them how they can get more information going forward?
Of course. At the conclusion of the demo, we don't want the conversation to end here. If you have additional questions, thoughts, ideas that you would like to explore with us further, we invite you to reach out and connect with us. We're more than happy to engage in deeper discussions and clarify any points from the webinar. Don't hesitate to get in touch. There are a few ways. If you are already an existing user, if you installed our apps to your vendor instance, you're welcome to email support@hashicorp.com, and our support team will take it from there. And if you are not a current user yet, if you are still deciding whether it's the right tool for the job, maybe you have just general questions, we have a public forum. It's discuss.hashicorp.com. Anyone can register there, create new topics. Make sure you label your topic with a ServiceNow label so that we could route it correctly. And we would be happy to discuss. We also invite you to learn more about the ServiceNow Service Graph Connector for Terraform and give it a try. We have a couple of resources to support you. The first link is the hands-on tutorial that covers the entire flow step by step. It's just what I showed you in the demo, from configuring a resource in Terraform, creating a workspace in Terraform Cloud, setting up the service graph, and then importing that resource into the ServiceNow CMDB. It's easy to follow, and especially if you don't have much experience with Terraform, I would say this is a great place to start. And the second link is our official documentation. It covers the requirements. It describes the 2 modes of import that we talked about. It provides detailed mapping tables with resource coverage, which show exactly how the information from the Terraform state object is mapped to the data classes inside the ServiceNow CMDB. It also covers customizations. Customization deserves a few extra comments. As mentioned before, the application supports selected resources from 4 major cloud providers: AWS, Google Cloud Platform, VMware, vSphere, and Azure. You might ask, what if I need a different provider? Or what if I, for example, use AWS, but need to import a resource that is currently not supported by the app? You can update and customize the default mapping rules offered by the Service Graph Connector for Terraform. It can be done inside the Integration Hub ETL interface of your ServiceNow instance. ETL stands for Extract, Transform, Load. The data mapping interface is super intuitive. It's very easy to use. You can simply drag and drop data peels from sources to targets and create new field mappings of your own without writing any code. That second documentation link that you see on the screen provides instructions on how to do that with examples and screenshots. All right, what's next? Looking ahead, we're committed to maintaining this app and extending it further. So there will be definitely new releases and new versions. Please stay connected with us. Keep an eye out for our upcoming events. We will have at least one more demo and learning opportunity lined up for you in the near future. Next time, it will likely be hosted by HashiCorp. So I invite you to visit hashicorp.com/events and look for ServiceNow related webinars in November. The next webinar hasn't been announced yet, but it will be shortly. All right, and this concludes the main segment of our webinar.
All right, we'll pass it around for one more opportunity to ask questions, and another opportunity for attendees to click. Thanks for those who have clicked for a follow-up, and if any others would like to follow up, please indicate so now. We're obviously very available for any follow-ups on the discussed channels or the other channels mentioned in the content. This content will be available posted to the blog on the ServiceNow community after the fact. So if you're looking for those links, that's where you should go. We'll also have the video posted there, and we would love and encourage if you'd reshare that video. So I don't see any other questions posted. So I guess we'll take that as our cue to sign off. Polina, Vishnu, thank you so much again for coming on and presenting for us today. If you have any parting thoughts, I'll let you close us out.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you for having us.
Great.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks.
Thanks, Vishnu. All please have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.